Hi everyone, my name's Eric, and on this episode we look at three 80s films about aliens visiting Earth. Will they be cute creatures, monsters, or just Jeff Bridges in an ugly hat? Let's find out on today's Movie Bits. Starman is a 1984 sci-fi adventure film directed by John Carpenter. It follows Karen Allen playing a widow in Wisconsin. An ethereal alien crash lands near her home, and it takes on the physical shape of her deceased husband, played by Jeff Bridges. The alien has 3 days to get to its pickup point in Arizona, or it will die. So Allen begrudgingly helps it get across the US, while government agencies are hot on their trail trying to capture the alien. Karen Allen is great in this film, and Bridges plays the alien in that silly, learning how to function sort of way, which is fun at first, but I did get a little tired of the dead, glassy look in his eyes. The film features some really cool effects and a couple of exciting set pieces, which I think Carpenter and crew shoot very well. The alien also has a number of superpowers, which help the pair escape most of the dangers. I found it a bit weak when the magic solution kept getting them past obstacles, but hey, I guess that adds more to the science fiction fantasy of it all. Overall, I thought it was pretty fun, but it does borrow a lot from other more famous films, as we'll discuss in the next clip. If the plot and characters of Starman sound an awful lot like E.T., you're not wrong. This is so much like the 1982 Steven Spielberg film that the producers of Starman sent it back for rewrites to try and differentiate it more, but it's still a very similar movie. Instead of little kids dealing with divorce in a suburb, this is adults dealing with death doing a road trip. But by making those changes, the story is closer to Close Encounters of the Third Kind, or maybe even Sugarland Express. All different kinds of Spielberg being borrowed in this one. This film is still a nice study in second chances. If someone important is taken from you, what would you do or say to them if they reappeared? What if this angel-like miracle could fill that void the person left? What if you could just talk to them again or say a real goodbye? This part is a little bit more unique to Starman over E.T., and it makes Karen Allen's character arc more genuine and real. And I really like the ending that the film gives her. John Carpenter has said that the character relationships and romance that develop during the road trip is what interested him the most in making Starman. And I think that's where the film shines and is the most unique. Road trip films are a great way for the characters to get out of their bubble at home and see many different sides of the people and culture they're traveling through. Here, the alien sees all different sides of humanity across middle America, from glimpses of love and kindness to cruelty and malice. In general, I'd say the ship showcases humans as more bad than good. So what is the metaphor of the alien in this film? Some sort of higher life form, more perfect than humans, trying to improve humanity or share something new? I don't think it's quite clear, but whatever it is, humans are trying to ruin that too, specifically the US government. It's a cynical take, and although I wouldn't call it a particularly original theme, it's not wrong either. This is a trope we see in nearly every alien encounter film, that the feds are eager to destroy what is new or mystical or unknown to them. It's the everyday people who might have a personal or spiritual connection to the aliens that offer peace. Batteries Not Included is a 1987 family film directed by Matthew Robbins. It centers on an apartment building in New York, the last remaining building on a large lot where a skyscraper is to be built. The last tenants refuse to move out, but they're at their last nerve when the landlord starts to physically bully them out of the building. Enter the Fix-Its, two miniature flying saucer robots. They nest in the building for its power supply, and in return, start fixing up the building, practically by magic, and they give the tenants a boost to fight their oppressors. This is a family film, mostly lighthearted, and has that saccharine 80s Spielberg touch. In fact, the film started as an episode of Spielberg's anthology series, Amazing Stories. I thought the story was fun, but the plot was a little bit repetitive. You can tell the filmmakers had to fight a little bit to get this one to feature film length. The visual effects look great, and I really like the look of the fix-its and the different movie magic tricks the team used to get them into the film, whether that's blue screen or animatronic. And if you're a fan of oldie films from Hollywood's golden age, you'll love seeing classic actors like Hume Cronin and Jessica Tandy as the senior holdouts running their burger joint on the first floor of the building. Nothing really blows me away in this one, but it's plenty of fun, especially if you're looking for that 80s enchanting vibe. When the fix-its show up, each resident thinks that they may be an answered prayer for each of them. I thought it was interesting that the characters were so sure that the creatures were divine intervention. But then again, these angel-like creatures are indeed performing miracles for the building. Are any of the residents right that the fix-its are answering a prayer? Each resident has their own reason for loving this old building and asking for help. The senior citizens have lived here since the 40s and can't call any other place home. The artist loves the cultural and historical significance of the old architecture. Is one reason stronger for saving the building than the other? Are they valuable in tandem? The film doesn't land on any thesis on this, except perhaps that people can love these homes, buildings, and neighborhoods in a myriad of different ways. They're all valid and still collectively important. The details of a set's design and dressing can really make a film feel real and genuine. The dilapidated building is mostly a facade with intricate art design to highlight that turn-of-the-century urban architecture. The vacant lot in New York was real, but all the debris was not, and the huge piles of rubble really helped sell the set. This building really is the last bastion surviving a hellish siege from the land developers. In some shots, you can't even see the rest of the city. Destroyed rubble fills your eyeline. Only on the roof do the characters get to look out and see any part of a healthy New York. Each apartment is set dressed to the brim to help the buildings feel well lived in and well loved, especially the senior citizens who have more elaborate decorations, showcasing that they've been there for decades. The fantastic set design to make this building feel real is just as great and important as the visual effects that make the fix-its feel real. Killer Klowns from Outer Space is a 1988 campy sci-fi horror comedy directed by Stephen Chiodo. It takes place in the small Northern California town of Crescent Cove. A shooting star seems to land in the forest outside of town, but residents discover a big top tent instead of a crater. Inside, they find monstrous aliens that look like clowns, who trap the residents and collect them for sustenance. The film becomes a classic alien invasion story, reminiscent of 50s sci-fi B-movies. The clowns look awesome. If you were scared of clowns as a kid, they probably looked like this to your eye. The movie is at its strongest in the first half, when it really leans into the campiness and tropes of a 50s alien encounter thriller. In the second half, that novelty wears off and there's less intrigue carrying it through to the end. I also didn't find it all that funny, but to each his own. What it doesn't have in comedy, it does have in excellent sci-fi effects and a couple of creepy horror moments. So this movie really does try to have it all. It's a solid popcorn flick if you embrace the weirdness of it, and it's an extension of those classic monster B-movies from another era. Killer Klowns does a great job of exploring its theme and title all the way through. The titular clowns are full of great details, from their outlandish costumes to their Looney Tunes ray guns. The big top tent spaceship is particularly inspired, and it's a bright and colorful set that a lesser movie would probably skimp on. I love that everything the clowns did was something clown adjacent. They trap people in cotton candy, they make ravenous balloon animals, they drink blood from silly straws, they ride goofy tricycles, and of course, they drive a cartoonish clown car. It's all inventive, funny, and it's all an important visual element too. It serves the outlandish, campy, sci-fi tone the filmmakers are going for. So even something as dark as an alien abduction or grisly murder is still lighthearted in that midnight movie popcorn flick sort of way. The The first half of Killer Klowns leans into the tropes of 50s and 60s alien invasion films. Rowdy and randy teens get attacked, no one believes the wild stories they tell about the creatures, and small-town cops are overwhelmed by the chaos. In those Golden Age films, the invasion was always a metaphor for something bigger in America in that day. In Invasion of the Body Snatchers and The Blob, it was communism. In fact, in almost every movie, it was communism. Do these clowns symbolize any great dangers in 80s America? Or did the filmmakers just have a great title and some wild ideas? I honestly think it's the latter, and that's just fine. Perhaps there's something here about a loss of innocence, or a loss of fun from those good old post-war days. Whether there's a deep meaning or not, the film's a trip either way. If you have any readings on the Killer Klowns, please drop them in the comments. Every episode of Movie Bits will be having a superfan on Patreon give a movie recommendation to the community. If you'd like to share a movie thought of your own in the future, please consider joining our Patreon, link in the description below. That does it for this episode of Movie Bits. Thank you for watching. Check out these films if you haven't yet, and see you in the next one.